Let's start simple. Individuation is Carl Jung's central concept, and it's a process of becoming a whole, integrated person. It's about pulling the hidden and unconscious parts of who you are and weaving them into your conscious life. Jung once said, "The aim of individuation is nothing less than to divest the self of the false wrappings, of the persona and suggestive power of primordial images." That's a fancy way of saying taking off the masks that you wear for society and becoming your true self, authentic, unique, and the whole. Now, Jung outlined 3 powerful stages of the individuation process. Shadow integration. The shadow is something you denied or repressed, the sides of yourself that you pushed into the dark. Shadow work means shining a light on this spot, accepting it and integrating it. For example, if arrogance in someone annoys you, maybe there is a hidden part of you craving for recognition. Anima and animus integration. This is a contrasexual parts of your psyche. The inner feminine if you are a man, and the inner masculine if you are a woman. Integration here brings compassion, balance, and creativity for a man, assertiveness and clarity for a woman. It's just about becoming more complete. Self-realization. This is the deepest state of self-archetype. Here you stop chasing external validation and instead align with a deeper force that unites your conscious and unconscious. It's where the meaning and true wholeness live. Jung believed that individuation intensifies in midlife because the first half of life is about building an ego, career, status, family, but eventually you start asking yourself, is this all there is? That's when individuation calls you inward. It can feel like a crisis, but actually it is individuation process. As Jung put it, no one in second half of life was ever cured who did not achieve a spiritual outlook. Your pain is the entry point for transformation. Alright, let's make it practical. How to do individuation. Here are 5 practical tools. First is a dream work. Keep a dream journal. Write one dream every morning. Dreams are like letters from your unconscious. Look for repeating symbols and patterns. They are guiding you. Active imagination. Set aside a quiet time. Close your eyes and let the images or voices arise. Dialogue with them and write down what happens. This practice connects your conscious mind directly with your unconscious. Shadow work. Use 3, 2, 1 process. Face it. Describe someone who triggers you. Talk to it. Imagine a dialogue. Be it. Say I am and embody this. Analyzing persona. Ask yourself, what masks do I wear at work, with friends or social media? Write them down and ask yourself, which masks do I feel fake? Which are hiding your true self? Symbolic engagement. Look at myths, art or spiritual tradition that resonating with you. Symbols are the language of the unconscious. Pay attention to ones that is appearing in your life. They are not random. Individuation isn't something you check off a list. It's a lifelong commitment. You can live it daily through small practices. Record your dreams, reflect on your emotional triggers, express yourself authentically in conversation. Read works like Memories, Dreams, Reflections by Carl Jung. Keep asking, do I live my story or follows somebody else's script? The goal isn't to become perfect. The goal is to become worthy. Whenever you love him or hate him or somewhere in between, you cannot deny that Jordan Peterson changed the way millions of people think about psychology, responsibility, and the meaning. Let's break down the reasons why. Articulation, the power of word. Peterson have a gift that a lot of psychologists don't have, and even public speakers. It's not just that he knows psychology, is that he can articulate ideas that cuts straight into your soul. When he talks about responsibility, meaning, or confronting the chaos, you don't just hear the words, you feel them. And that's rare. Because in our world of short attention spans, most speakers simplify to the point of emptiness. But Peterson manages to take deeply complex psychological and philosophical truths and speak them clearly without losing the depth. This kind of articulation is once in a generation talent. Carl Jung, Freud, Solzhenitsyn and Dostoevsky, these names used to feel inaccessible for most people, but Peterson acted as a bridge. He took dense, most impossible to read book and translated it into lessons for everyday life. Suddenly, archetypes is not just academical theory. They became mirror of your own life. The dragon wasn't just mythology. It was the challenge that you face every morning after you wake up. He brought the depth of psychology for ordinary people who otherwise will never pick up the archetypes and collective unconscious by Carl Jung and Nietzsche, thus spoken Zarathustra. That's not something you can easily replicate. It takes decades of study, practice and courage to step into a public spotlight and stay there through chaos. What made Jordan Peterson more than just intellectual is his empathy.
Little, that there's nothing to them but corruption and power. It's like, how the hell do you expect them to react?
You see it in the moments where people in the audience would break down in tears while asking him questions. He didn't dismiss them, he didn't talk down to them, he listened. He cried with them. He carried their pain with seriousness. Peterson reminded that suffering is a part of life, but so is strength, growth, and transformation. That mix of intellectual sharpness and raw human empathy is extremely rare. A speech can inspire you for a day. A book can guide you in a lifetime. With 12 rules of life and beyond order, Peterson didn't just leave sound bites. He left a structured roadmap for living. Millions of people, young and old, picked up those books and found clarity when they were lost. And the power of book is that it lived beyond the author. Even 100 years were long gone, his words will still be guiding someone who's struggling to make sense of his own life. Today I will explain why Lady Gaga is more than just a pop star. She's a paradigm of self-improvement, resilience and the power of authenticity. If you are chasing your dreams or you misunderstood, or if you're learning how to be yourself, this video is for you. Lady Gaga is a perfect example of human who confronted her shadow. From early rejections in music industry to struggles with mental health and physical pain, she didn't hide these parts of her story. She embraced them. Carl Jung said, one does not become enlightened by seeing the light, but making the darkness conscious. Gaga lives that truth. She turned pain into art, her trauma into music, and her shadow into power. Personal growth lesson. Do your shadow work. Write down parts of yourself you're trying to hide. Accept them, only then you can transform it into power. Gaga never conformed to the industry expectations. She wore meat dresses, bizarre costumes, and created a whole new identity around her art. Because she knew who she was and decided not to put this into the box. In a world where most people hide behind the mask, Gaga's radical self-acceptance gave others permission to do the same. Personal growth lesson. Stop apologizing for who you are. Write down your values, your lessons, your quirks. Accept them fully, because the moment when you stop running from yourself, you gain unstoppable confidence. Here's what most people miss about Lady Gaga. Behind the wild costumes and performances is discipline. She trained for years in songwriting, piano and performances before her big break. She worked endlessly on her craft. Discipline is a bridge behind dreams and reality, and Gaga mastered that bridge. It wasn't luck, it wasn't just talent. It was daily grind, the hours of practice, the commitment to improvement. Personal growth lesson. Whatever your dream, pair it with your discipline. Commit to showing up every day, even when motivation dies. Gaga could have stayed safe. She could have played small. Instead, she goes into her fear. She risks ridicule, rejection, and even her reputation. And that's why she became so iconic. Fearlessness doesn't mean you don't feel fear. It means you act despite it. Gaga turned her fear into fuel. That's what separates her from the rest. Personal growth lesson. Whatever scares you is the direction you need to go. Don't run from fear. Step into it. Because your dream lives on the other side of your fear. And today I will explain why Britney Spears isn't just a pop star. She is a symbol of ambition, fearlessness, shadow integration, and courage toward her dream. Her story isn't just about entertainment. It's a psychological blueprint for everyone who is chasing personal growth. Britney grew up in a small town, in an environment where her wild dreams seemed almost impossible. Like many of us, she faced the limitations of her surroundings. People telling her, you can't, stop doing this, you shouldn't, be realistic. So what did she do? She created an alter ego, a stronger, bolder version of herself. This is something psychology teaches us. When reality feels too heavy, build an identity that protects us and carries further. Britney's alter ego is Sasha Fierce. It allowed her to step into stages, interviews and challenges with more confidence than her younger self thought it is impossible. Think about it. How many times do we hold back because our current self doesn't feel good? An alter ego can become a bridge between who you are now and who you want to become. From the beginning, Britney wasn't just talented, she was ambitious. Ambition is fire that separates dreamer from achiever. She didn't just sing in a room. She performed, auditioned and fought for every chance. The ambition reminds us that talent without drive is a wasted potential. Britney's career shows us that if you want to grow above the crowd, ambition has to be bigger than a fear. Ask yourself, are you aiming high enough or are you lowering your standards because it feels safe? When you look into Britney's success, you see fearlessness. Every performance, every risk carried the possibility of failure, but she did it anyway. Fearlessness doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means walking through fear. Its ability to step into the unknown and say, I'm going anyway. Britney embodied this. She stepped into a world stage as she belonged there, even when the pressure was unbearable. That's a lesson for all of us. Fear never disappears. But the question is, will you let it stop you or fuel you? And at the heart of it all is a courage. Britney Spears had the courage to chase a dream most people laughed at, to step out of her small town and into the global spotlight, to continue even when critic, media and personal struggles was trying to beat her. Courage is what transforms ambition into reality. And that's why there will never be another Britney Spears, because courage like her is rare and it inspires us to find our own. Let's break down why loneliness happens and why it's actually proof that you on the right path. Here's the reality. Only 1 to 5% of people chase their dreams and chase personal growth. Most people live on autopilots, repeating patterns, staying in the comfort zone, following the routines set by society. When you suddenly wake up and think, I want more, I want to achieve, I want to grow, I want to build something legendary, you instantly separate you from majority. And difference often feels like isolation. Think about it, if everyone gossiping about small things and you are talking about books, achieving something legendary, goals, psychology and your dreams, you will feel out of place. That's normal, it just means that you are not average. Take any successful artist, entrepreneur or inventor, such as Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Lady Gaga and Jordan Peterson. What's the one thing they have in common? It's loneliness. Why? Because they saw that nobody else can see. They held a vision of the future so clear, while people around them are criticized them, doubted them, or simply didn't understand. When you are above the ordinary, the others will try to pull you down. Not because they hate you, but because your personal growth reminds them of their stagnation. But here's the good news. If you keep pushing, you eventually will attract your real tribe, the 1 to 5% who understand your hunger. From a psychological perspective, growth comes from two places, and loneliness too. Identify, shift. You are changing. The old version of you is fading, but the new version hasn't fully formed yet. In that in-between phase, you feel like you don't belong anywhere. Mismatch of values. Our brain craves belongings, but if your values are now about focus, building something legendary and something meaningful, while your old friend patterns are escaping and wasting time, your brain fills the gap. It's not that you are alone, it's that your nervous system rewiring you to find new, deeper connections. Here's the shift you are experiencing. You are no longer satisfied with default friendships built on geography, coincidence, or old habits. You now crave firm, international, and interesting connections. This is why superficial conversations bore you, but one deep about growth. So instead of fearing this loneliness, use it as a filter. It's showing you what kind of people you want in your life. People who push forward, challenge you, and celebrate your wins instead of doubting them. Think about like this. The seed must go into a dark soil to become a tree. Your lonely phase is your soil, the place where the roots are forming. Without this period, you wouldn't have strength to grow tall later. Isolation often comes before expansion. Another reason why loneliness hits is that you are leaving behind quick dopamine. When you stop partying every weekend, stop drinking alcohol, or chasing instant pleasure, there is a void. That void feels like loneliness, but this void is something new. In reality, it's a space. Space that can be filled with habits, books, meditation, and the projects that make your future self proud of you. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make your unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Loneliness can push you forward towards shadow work, facing your inner fears, doubts, and insecurities. Instead of running from them, integrate them. And once you do, you will realize that loneliness isn't your enemy, but it's your teacher. The moment you embrace the path, you will immediately start attracting new people, mentors, like-minded people, and business partners, or even an online community. It won't happen overnight, but one by one, the right people will appear. That's when you realize the loneliness was temporary, but the growth is forever. The truth is that personal growth isn't about feeling happy. It's about building strength, resilience, and clarity. Loneliness is a part of package, but it also showing you that you are walking the road less traveled. And that's why your story will inspire others one day. People think that genius comes from chaos, late nights, wild ideas, and sudden breakthroughs. That's a myth. Real genius is a structure. A goal calendar is most underrated thing in personal growth. Every day, write small achievable goals and check them off. Every month, set a challenge with a clear deadline. Over a year, this compounds. You will outwork and outsmart 90% of people. Consistency looks like genius from the outside. Carl Jung said that until you make unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Shadow work means that you are trying to face challenges and the hidden parts of yourself. Jealousy, fear, shame, and anger. Write about your triggers. Ask yourself, what does this emotion teach me about myself? Integrate it instead of suppressing it. When you integrate your shadow, you don't just look stable, you radiate wisdom. People will say, how do you stay so calm? How do you always know what to do? That's a shadow work. The fastest way to live like a genius? Read, not just scroll. No just headlines. Read deeply. Here are two that I highly recommend. The Archetypes and Collective Unconscious by Carl Jung. This book helps you to understand universal patterns in human mind. Once you see these patterns, you understand people at a level of most never reach. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. This one is modern, raw, and brilliantly honest. It teaches you how to focus only on one thing and on what truly matters, instead of wasting energy on distractions. Reading makes you timeless. You are not just living your life, you are borrowing 1000 different lives. Here's the secret. The strongest people I've met is ones who asked for help. Therapy isn't about weakness, it's about updating your mental operating system. You learn how your childhood shaped you. You learn where your patterns come from, and you learn how to break free. People will see you handling stress with clarity and speaking with confidence, and they will think that person is just built differently. But in reality, you just did an inner work. You don't need to reinvent a wheel. If someone already mastered it, learn how they think, how they work, and how they structure their life. Steve Jobs obsessed over simplicity. Kobe Bryant trained harder than anyone else. Lady Gaga embraced authenticity and shadow work. Pick one person you admire, choose their habits, mindset, and daily routines. Copy first, adapt, and make it yours. Modeling greatness makes you look like genius in record time. So here's a bonus topic. If you really wanna look like a genius, don't just collect your knowledge. Share it. When you explain complex ideas simply, people will think you are intelligent. Teach a friend what you just read. Write a post or share a short video. Teaching forces you to understand knowledge on a deeper level, and it builds an authority, because genius is not about collecting knowledge, it's about sharing your wisdom. Today I will share you 6 powerful insights and tools to break free and finally move forward. Procrastination isn't a personal failure, it's a mind habit, and like any habit, it can be unlearned. Let's break it down step by step. If you find this valuable, subscribe, press like, and share a comment with your favorite book or your favorite celebrity. It literally supports this community of self-growth. First, we need to understand why procrastination happens. It's rarely because you are lazy. Sometimes it's just your fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, and fear of judgment. Your brain interprets a task as a threat, so it distracts you with safer, easier activities. Once you realize it's fear, not laziness, you can approach it with compassion instead of guilt. Perfectionism and procrastination are twins. You tell yourself, I will start when I'm ready, or I will do it when I make it perfect. But this perfect moment never comes. Here's the cure. Lower the bar. I am for the progress, not perfection. Set a 10-minute timer and just start. That small win creates momentum and kills procrastination. Here's a secret. Urgency kills procrastination. If you give yourself a whole day, your task will expand to fit it. But if you give yourself 1 hour of focused work, you will be shocked at how much gets done. I use a Pomodoro technique. 25 minutes of focused work and 5 minutes of rest. You will retrain your brain to focus in short and achievable bursts. One reason because we procrastinate is because our future vision is abstract. You don't feel a reward of finishing today. You only feel the pain of effort. Visualization changes that. Close your eyes and imagine your future vision in 5 years. 5 years from now, if you keep procrastinating. Then imagine your life if you stay consistent. The emotional contrast makes your choice clear. Act now or regret later. Procrastination thrives in chaos. If your goals stay only in your head, they will continue to be just only dreams. But when you create a goal calendar, you give them structure. Write down your monthly goals, break them into daily actions, and check them off. That physical act of ticking the box rewires your brain to crave progress and build confidence step by step. Here's something deeper. Sometimes procrastination is your shadow speaking, the part of you that feels worthy and scared of growth. Instead of fighting with it, listen to it. Journal your fears. Ask, what am I really avoiding? Often it's not the task. Often it's a feeling behind it. By shining light on a shadow, you stop procrastinating at its root. And I started this channel to prove that growth isn't about luck. It's a skill you can learn. So today I will share 6 key lessons that I learned from my own journey. Habits and mindset that you can apply right now. Everyone thinks that motivation is key, but motivation fades, systems stay. When I built my first business, I wasn't motivated every morning, but I had a system. Wake up, plan, execute, and reflect. That's what kept me going when I feel unmotivated or uninspired. Ask yourself what systems I could put in place today that works when I don't feel like it. Most people works on a surface habit. Wake up early, exercise, read, but real growth starts when you face your shadow, the fears, insecurities, and suppressed parts of your personality. As Jung said, until you make your unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Try journaling about your triggers, your fears, your insecurities. That's where your hidden power is. The easiest traps is a feeling that you are going nowhere. That's why I created a goal calendar. On the one page, small daily achievable tasks, and on another, bigger monthly milestones. Every day I check things off to prove that I'm moving forward. Your brain needs evidence of progress. It kills procrastination and builds confidence. Most anxiety comes from not knowing what's next. That's why visualization is so powerful. I write down my ideal day 5 years from now. Where do I live? On what I'm working on? With whom I am? What do I feel when I'm waking up? Every morning I read it. Every evening I reread it. Over time my brain starts feeling that it's already true. Your vision guides your daily choices. Without it you drift, with it you build. I can't overstate this. Books saved me years of mistakes. Some of my must read: The Archetypes and Collective Unconscious by Carl Jung to understand yourself better, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F by Mark Manson for cutting the noise, and Memories, Dreams, Reflections by Carl Jung for deep life insight. Reading lets you download decades of someone else's knowledge in days. Here's a truth. I failed more times than I can count. Business collapsed, habits broke, people doubted me. But self-improvement isn't about being perfect. It's about coming back stronger every time. I don't want to think that I'm some guru. I'm just a guy proving that it's not luck. It's persistence, discipline, and a vision. So today I will share you 6 hidden dangers you need to be aware if you're really pursuing your dreams, and how to handle them without losing yourself. When you commit to your dream, you often walk a path a few people around you will understand. Friends might stop calling you, family can start criticize you, and you might feel completely alone. That's why 1 to 5% of people genuinely chase personal growth and daring ambitions. Psychologically, this isolation can bring you deep feeling of loneliness, rejection, abandonment, and even self-doubt. Humans are wired for connection, and when you start separating from a default life, it can feel like exile. But here's reframe. Isolation can become transformation. Use this quiet time to build yourself, sharpen your vision, and strengthen your inner resilience. Instead of chasing shallow connections, seek out mentors, like-minded peers, or even online communities where growth is celebrated. Loneliness is real, but it's also a proof that you are not ordinary. Pursuing your dreams is exciting at first. Late nights, endless energy, and unstoppable drive. But here's a trap. If you push without a balance, burnout will come knocking. And burnout doesn't just mean being tired. It means losing your joy, motivation, and inspiration. As a psychologist, I see many people confuse discipline with self-destruction. They think grinding 24/7 equals success. In reality, your nervous system, your emotions, and your body all need recovery to perform at their peak. If you neglect sleep, relationships, and recovery, you are not building your dream. You are building a time bomb. The solution is rhythm, not constant intensity. Think of elite athletes. They train hard, but they also rest. Build recovery into your schedule, time to reflect, meditate, or even do nothing. Paradoxically, the best ideas and breakthroughs comes in that silence. Let's be real, dreams cost money, whether it's starting your business, traveling for your art, or investing in education. The financial burden is often underestimated, and financial stress can kill not just dreams, but also relationships and mental health. The psychological danger here is to live in a constant survival mode. When your money is tight, your brain focused at fear instead of creativity. You may compromise your values, rush decisions, or even quit your dream because it feels impossible. The attitude is financial wisdom. Start small, plan your runway, and treat money as a tool, not an enemy. Even working a side job and building savings can give your dream an oxygen. Dreams thrive when they are supported by structure, not when they are choked by desperation. Chasing your dreams forces you to face failure, rejection, and comparison. You will watch others will succeed faster. You will question your own abilities. Self-doubt creeps in like a shadow. Shadow whispering, maybe you are not so good enough. But here's the truth. Self-doubt isn't a proof that you are failing. It's a proof that you are stretching into a new territory. Every entrepreneur, leader, or artist you admire was wrestled with it. From Jungian perspective, self-doubt means it's your shadow. The parts of you that feels unmotivated, unworthy, and the parts of you that feel small, insecure, and in fear. Integrating the shadow doesn't mean erasing it. It means acknowledging it and moving forward anyway. Courage isn't an absence of doubt, it's action despite it. Ironically, chasing your dream can make you forget why you started. You can become so obsessed with the goal, money, fame, and recognition, that you lose your authenticity. You trade your values for validation, and your dream becomes a prison. This is the danger of living only for the persona, the mask you present to the world. When you ignore your deeper self, success feels hollow, no matter how shiny it looks. The antidote is a constant self-reflection. Journaling, therapy, meditation, these tools help you to check in with your authentic self. Ask regularly, am I still aligned with my true vision, or am I chasing someone else's definition of success? Your dream should free you, not enslave you. One of the best parts of chasing your dream is developing courage. But there's a thin line between courage and recklessness. Taking bold risks is necessary, but ignoring reality, overestimating your abilities, or burning bridges without strategy can sabotage your path. Fear has a purpose. It's a signal, not an enemy. It keeps you aware, alert, and humble. If you silence fear completely, you may leap blindly into disaster that could have been avoided with reflection. The key is balanced bravery. Step into the unknown, do it with preparation, strategy, and wisdom. That's how you turn courage into progress instead of chaos. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Today I will not just break down these 7 habits, but will show you how to actually apply them in your own self-improvement journey. Because these principles without action, they are just theory. So let's dive in. The first one is foundation. Be proactive instead of reactive. Most people live like victims of circumstances, blaming their boss, their parents, or their current life situation. But proactive people take ownership. They recognize that while they can't control everything, they can always control their response. For me, this shifted everything in my business. I used to think, well, if the market is down, I can't do much. But when I shifted to asking, what can I do? What in my control? I start innovating instead of waiting. Application for you. Write down 3 things you complain most often, then reframe them to actions you can control. If you complain, I don't have enough time, reframe it. I can schedule 1 hour daily for my goals. Proactivity is not about ignoring problems. It's about refusing to let them own you. Covey teaches us that everything created twice. First in your mind, second in your reality. This habit forces you to ask, what's my vision? What do I actually want my life to look like? Most people wonder because they never define the end. When I started my businesses, I wrote down exactly lifestyle I want in 5 years. Where I live, how I work, who I was surrounded by. That clarity became my compass. And here's the psychology behind it. Your brain filters the reality you focus on. With a clear vision, your subconscious starts seeing opportunities that are aligned with it. Application for you. Write your own personal mission statement. It's not about fluff, it's about a North Star. Define your values, the impact you want to leave, and what success means to you. This is a productivity principle that separates dreamer from a doer. Covey distinguishes between what's urgent and what's important. Most people get trapped in urgent emails, small fires, and distractions. But true effectiveness comes from consistently investing in what matters and what's important. Health, relationships, and long-term goals. I learned this in a hard way. I worked 12 hours days putting fires, but never built a system. Once I prioritized importance, like building strategy or developing people, I scaled with less stress. Application for you. Every morning when you wake up, write down 3 sentences, what you must do and what's important. Do them before the distractions. Train yourself to protect your deep work time like your life depends on it. In businesses, relationships, and even family, most people default to a scarcity mindset. They think that someone else's win is their loss. But the most effective people find solutions where everyone grows. For example, for negotiations, I used to aim just to win, but that often left resentment and weak partnership. When I start asking how both of us can win in the long term, I built lasting business relationships that gave back tenfold. Psychologically, a win-win approach reduces stress, builds trust, and aligns with human reciprocity, the tendency to give back when we feel valued. Application for you. Next time you face a conflict, pause and ask yourself what outcome would benefit both of us. This mindset shift doesn't make you feel weak. It makes you powerful because people want to work with you instead of against you. Here's where most people fail. They want to be heard, but they don't listen. Covey's principle is rooted in empathy. Listening not just with your ear, but with your full attention. and your heart. As a psychologist, I see this daily. People don't want quick fixes. They want to feel understood. When I applied this to my business, everything changed. Instead of trying to sell people what I thought they need, I first listened deeply to their problems. The result: stronger trust and better solutions. Application for you. Practice active listening today. In next conversation, repeat what you heard before responding. This shows empathy and ensure real understanding. You will notice how people open up more and your influence grows naturally. Synergy means combining the strengths, so the result can be greater than the sum of its parts. In psychology, this connects to the idea of collective intelligence. One brain is powerful, but multiple diverse perspectives solving a problem, that's a genius. When I was scaling one of my businesses, I realized that I was trying to do everything by myself. Burnout hit. The breakthrough came when I built a team and let each person to bring their strengths. The synergy created solutions I never would have imagined alone. Application for you. Stop trying to be a lone wolf. Surround yourself with the people who are different from you, who challenge you, not just agree with you. Collaboration brings innovation. This final habit is about renewal, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. We live in a culture that glorifies burnout, but COVID teaches us that effectiveness comes from the balance. If you never sharpen a saw, you eventually will break. For me, this means meditation, reading, exercise, and connecting with loved ones. These aren't breaks from work. They are what make my work sustainable. Application for you. Audit your week. Where are you draining yourself? Schedule non-negotiable renewal time. Even 20 minutes of meditation or exercise can completely reset your nervous system and clarity.